Well, welcome to CAPECAST. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Good, good. You doing good, man?
I'm doing great. Now that you guys are here, sadly, Ryan is once again MIA. He's still dealing with house issues, and hopefully he gets that under control and he can join us once again. What's
Tony's
up, Tony?
in here early.
For those of you that saw this, apparently, so I was telling Brett when he came in, I usually don't have to set up the streams. Ryan does that, but since he's been kind of in crazy town lately, I did that today. And when I set it up, it said, "This is your time, PST, Pacific time," and I was like, "Okay, so that means we need to set this for 6 o'clock because it'll be 9 our time." And so I set it up like that, 6 o'clock PST. Well, then apparently it didn't. It set it up 6 o'clock EST, and so hopefully, Tony, you haven't been waiting for 3 hours. That's basically what I'm saying. So anyway, I apologize in advance for anybody that may have tried to tune in at 6 and we're like, "What's going on? Why are you not here?" So, but yeah. Regardless, Alan, how's it going? How are you?
Hey, Brandon. Long time no see.
I know. It's been under 24 hours since I've seen you.
I know.
Britt, how are you tonight?
Yeah.
Welcome
Doing
to
good,
a
man.
live show. We haven't had you on a live show in a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. It's finding the time, sneaking away, but Kelly had some stuff to do tonight, so luckily we get a couple hours.
Nice.
Excited to be here.
Well, we're very lucky to have you because there's a lot of Marvel stuff on the dock tonight.
Yeah,
there is.
On our live show, post show, we're doing some pre-recorded stuff, all Marvel. So we can't really do that without you. So appreciate you taking the time to join us. But I guess real quick before we get started, let me get through the minutia of the plugs. You can basically just find everything on the CiNEMACHiNE network at cinemachinepod.com. You can find links for YouTube, our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and we are also on Patreon. But as far as CapeCast is concerned, just hit us up on Twitter at CapeCast Show. That's where we're going to be the most active. So, yeah. All right. Well, we the doc is, as far as news, it's pretty light tonight. There are a handful of trailers that did drop, but yeah, the news is going to be sparse, which is actually not the worst because we had a lot of stuff to do post show that we'll need some time to chip away at. So, yeah, let's get into to the news. And as usual, we only got one thing on the dock for DC, but they had a little tease from Dwayne Johnson. I guess they're in reshoots, pickups, whatever you want to call it. If it's bad, it's reshoots. If it's good, it's pickups. So depending on the person, I guess. Yeah, he shared a pretty good look at the costume. I gotta say, I think this costume so far is one of the best things going for this movie as far as my interest level. The costume looks great. Obviously it's very it's in line with that same kind of look and feel that I really appreciate from like the Wilkinson stuff that he's done with the Snyder movies. And I don't know if he designed it. He may not have had any part in it. He probably didn't, but they definitely kind of use that. It almost looks like a mix between Shazam and the BVS suit to me. It's very like fabric-y, like layered fabric. So yeah, just he was just talking about kind of the filming production, an intense week there on Black Adam, and they are in some post-production stuff. So and then just giving some, he did, I don't know if you guys know this, but the hierarchy of the DC universe is about to change. He did add that to this post. He can't go. He's consistent. I'll give him that. He is consistent, but
not You know, I mean, kind of what you're saying with the costume and everything. I would agree with you. I really like what I'm seeing so far coming out of it. Like Shazam, the first one, everything was very, and it was supposed to be, but very kind of cartoony feel. Like the suit just felt bigger, too big, kind of padded. You could tell things like that within there. And again, they don't have to pad the Rock's outfit, but I definitely like the style here. So I am curious whenever we get that crossover, what that's going to look like. With the two styles, it looks like. But yeah, I've liked so far what I'm seeing in here, and
I hope we get it. I love Shazam. I hope that they do end up crossing over. It would make sense. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, but when I hear things from like David F. Sandberg saying that he doesn't know anything about the Black Adam, I mean, it could be just saying stuff, this is Hollywood, so people lie intentionally or fib. But I hope so. I mean, they had a tease in the first Shazam, a little like hologrammy type, reference to Black Adam. So, and it was of the Rock's likeness. So, Alan, you have any thoughts on the suit or the post, whatever, anything about this project?
Yeah, I know that Ryan had talked about it in the group message, but like I'm excited for this movie. Out of all of the upcoming DC stuff, this and Shazam are probably the two that I'm most excited about. Like I said, I'm always a little more interested in the movie when the stars seem like they're super vested, and this has very much been a passion project for The Rock, I mean, Cal's whole life, The Rock's been playing this movie. Cal's 10 years old now. He's been playing this movie the whole time. So, I'm ready to see this thing. So yeah, I'm excited, and the suit looks awesome.
Yeah, I like how you're kind of saying too, the passion project. I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. Like he just kind of pushed and pushed and pushed to make it happen. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll be the same level as that, but at the same time, I hope with the fact that he has been so passionate, we do get to see a good movie with everything in there, and maybe he gets to push a little bit more with his name and things like that than some of the other projects we've seen in the past that had too many hands on them. So maybe we'll actually get something really good because of that, and his weight he gets to throw around a little bit.
Yeah. Did you see where Raimi said that Shazam was his favorite superhero movie? Like out of any DC or Marvel, Sam Raimi said Shazam was his favorite.
That's cool.
I was like,
I can see him leaning into that movie.
Yeah,
just with the comedy / like very like horror driven.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool to hear. I'm excited about this movie. I'm excited, and also like hedging my bets as I do with every project as of late. It's like especially when it comes to DC. The director of this, what is it? Journey, is it Colette Serra? I don't know how to say his first name. I've only seen one movie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try.
I've only seen one movie that he's directed, Jungle Cruise, which was a fine movie. It wasn't a bad movie. I guess I will be interested to see a full trailer, and I imagine we're going to get one sometime soon because the movie's October? Yeah, October 21st.
Yeah.
So we've got to get something within the next couple months, at least an initial, because we've got that like brief like Worlds of DC tease, but nothing since then. So.
Well, they want to try to follow Marvel in everything that they do, so they'll just wait till 30 days from the movie and they'll drop a trailer. That's what Marvel does now. So
it's true.
Got to be like them. So.
Yeah, it's funny. We were in the theater last night, Alan, and the Thor Love and Thunder trailer played. And I got to say, it was an improvement for me seeing it on the big screen versus seeing it, just watching it on my computer or phone.
Yeah.
I wasn't like negative about the trailer. I was just like, okay. I mean, I think we were just like, it's kind of like a music video. It's montagey, not a lot of story beats.
Yeah.
But seeing the visual style played out, like it got me excited about it. I'll say that. Seeing it
looked very grand, a big grand scale movie for sure. You know?
Yeah. So, and speaking of Thor: Love and Thunder, we did.
It's a nice lead in you did there.
I like now when you draw attention to it, it just kind of goes away, doesn't it? The segue just is ruined now. Yeah. So Empire Magazine had a still that they released of Thor, Odinson, and Mighty Thor. So a much clearer, bright look at Natalie Portman's costume and Thor's costume too. What did you guys think about these photos or this photo, the costumes in particular? Let's go. I mean, Britt, you go ahead, Britt.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different look in Thor, right? It's a lot more colorful, things like that, than what we've seen in previous costumes. But I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's one of those things that we'll see where the story goes with it. But I'm excited to kind of see Natalie Portman in that Thor role and what they're going to do with that. If it's just going to be a one movie thing, or if it's going to be something where they're going to slightly get Chris Hemsworth out of here over the next couple movies. I don't know. But all in all, I mean, I think the stills are cool. Kind of getting to see the new looks of the characters there.
Yeah, Alan, got any thoughts?
They make me want to go work out. Like I mean, Chris Hemsworth has always made me feel less of a man, but dang, Natalie Portman's pulling it off too. So I definitely need to hit the gym a little bit. But no, the suit I like the suits. I like the colors in Thor's costume. I like a lot of that you saw in the trailer as well. Like, just has a lot of the 80s comic Thor vibes, which I like.
It's got a very, especially Thor's, it's very like segmented, techie looking almost.
Yeah.
Which I dig. And then I think we commented about this maybe when the initial trailer released. Maybe I think some toys came out with Mjolnir and how it's kind of like reforged together, like all the broken pieces. It reminds me a lot of Kylo Ren's helmet from Rise of Skywalker, which I dug as well. So
overall in the trailer though, like I kind of what you guys were saying, like it feels very disjointed when they're putting it together, but I honestly think most of that is going to be in the first few minutes of the movie. Like I think we're going to pick up where he went with the Guardians, and then we saw that kind of breakup right there. Like I think we're going to get a lot of that in the first 30 minutes of the film, and then there's going to be so much more attached to the film that just kind of maybe goes down a different path. But I definitely like seeing kind of the feel, and I hope that, which I expect it from Taika, but like the comedy that's already kind of in the trailer, I'm hoping that they really continue with those Ragnarok vibes that they had that kind of brought life back to Thor. I kind of hope they keep with that with this movie too. And it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it before. Numerous times on here, especially. Out of all of the Avengers, he was the one that I did not think needed a third movie, and it ended up being one of my favorite MCU movies when it was all said and done with Ragnarok.
Agreed.
He had a good blend of heart and humor. I hope he can maintain that sensibility throughout this film.
Cool. Yeah, I'm interested. I think Ragnarok is one of the examples for me that the humor did work for me when it came to Marvel.
Yeah.
But
it didn't feel forced like some of the other movies where it kind of comes out of nowhere. This one,
I mean, it was definitely a departure as far as Thor is concerned, but I think a departure in a good way. Because you came off of two kind of like vanilla movies in the Thor franchise.
Two of some of the worst movies in the MCU.
Yeah, and I think
that are way down there.
A lot of life into it. So that's good. I'm excited to see what they do with it. What Taika does with this one. And I love some Korg. I'm a sucker for Korg. So, but speaking of Marvel and humor and humor that may not appeal to me as much, James Gunn did announce that he has wrapped shooting on Volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy. And I imagine you guys are pretty stoked about that, correct? Alan?
Yeah. I mean,
you're both Guardians fans.
I like the first one. The first movie was such a departure from anything that Marvel had really done at that point, and it was refreshing. The second one, I didn't like it as much as I did the first one, but it was still a solid movie. But yeah, I'm excited. I'd like to see a good end to this. If it is an end to the Guardians franchise, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it done well, I guess. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. Like the first one was great. It was different than the first set of movies in the MCU. It kind of allowed them to start to branch out and get into space, but also just have a different feel to the movies, more of the comedy stuff, and more of the exaggerated stuff. And so the second one, I wasn't a big fan of Ego. Like the whole Ego, the Living Planet thing, like just, I know it's in the comics and stuff, just didn't really appeal that much to me. But loved some of the big, like Michael Rooker's character, Yondu and his whole storyline and Peter Quill and stuff. But I've been seeing a lot of posts where like Batista is like, hey, I'm wrapped, I'm done with Drax and things like that. I know Brandon's excited about that Drax is going on the shelf and not gonna be in the MCU anymore. But it's it's interesting to see what they're gonna do with the Guardians from there. If it's a new team or if we're truly not gonna see Guardians anymore.
So Gunn also teased an actor that hadn't been announced yet. Do you guys have any as far as like, do you think that it's like a big, I don't know if he would tease it if it wasn't a big name. Which this is a movie full of big names. Or it could be one of the like token guys that Gunn works with. Steve Agee works with them a lot. And I mean, it could even be some connections that he made when working on Suicide Squad. Some like an Idris Elba.
It could be like a Nathan Fillion. I mean, again, he's teased at Wonder Man, like again in the MODOK Clay Animation series. He's Wonder Man there, so they could kind of bring that in over here with his character. It could be, and the other side of it is we could see something crazy. We could see depending what they're doing with the whole multiverse and where this is going to end, with the end of the phase, like we could start to get teases of that. It's not going to be, but the Tom Cruise Iron Man or whatever, right? Like we could see some crazy cameo that we're just not even thinking about, that just kind of pops up and, it's all under wraps, but
Yeah. Alan, you got any guesses as to who it could be?
Gene Simmons.
Okay.
He's Kiss is going to do a concert.
Okay. I'm going to guess Richard Simmons
at some point. Okay. Sweating to the oldies or just playing.
Isn't Richard Simmons missing? Hasn't he been missing for like years or like?
Is that?
I think he just popped up. I think he just popped up a couple of months ago doing something.
Okay.
That I saw an article for, but gotcha. I don't remember what it was.
Well, between the three of our guesses, you guys in the audience can hedge your bets on who has the best odds.
Yes.
Vote for Britt.
I don't know. We'll see.
Got Henry in the.
It could be John Cena. Hey, John Cena popping up in some new role.
It wouldn't surprise me. Gunn is a big fan.
Or Weasel. Weasel could come strolling through. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That would be.
Very
I
much
could
so.
actually, I could kind of see that. I mean,
Well, he's
just,
saying actor. He said actor. He didn't say
well,
character. And the actor
Yeah.
of Weasel is already in the movie, but
Yeah, his
yeah, multiple
brothers
times.
and a lot of things.
yeah. Well, time will tell.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
we're
What are you saying?
I was gonna say to chat there. We're talking about Guardians at the moment.
Yeah.
Just wrapping up filming Guardians 3. So
Yeah. I'm not the biggest. I appreciate Guardians. And I have my hangups with Dave Bautista as an actor. It's especially his Drax performance. I know that it's intentional, but I still don't like it. I don't like his version of it. It could have been done better. And I think honestly, knowing that Momoa was up for that role and turned it down, I could see that working more in my favor for the character. But alas, it is what it is.
We got a Viola Davis.
Viola Davis could be. Very well could be. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, a couple more Marvel things to get through real quick. And I know we've all been watching Moon Knight. You can check our coverage here on the channel. We're gonna do an episode 6 review here shortly. But the director teased a deleted scene from episode 6. That was kind of it was some resolve with Mark and his mom. And we talked about on our review how we were like, we saw what they were trying to do with the mom character, but felt like it was like kind of balls to the wall a little too quick with the arc. They did it in a matter of 2 minutes. And so I think this would have been and he's saying that this is like an amazing, which Oscar Isaac's been great throughout the entire series, so it doesn't surprise me that he's got another scene that was really great that's on the cutting room floor. And he's just saying that hopefully you'll see it. But it was like this white void scenario, him in some sort of space-time continuum type situation where he was able to have a conversation with his mom as an adult. Which would have been cool to see. Maybe would have helped with some of our issues in hindsight. Not necessarily the pacing of it, but maybe would have given a little bit of closure to that relationship. So it's a shame that it was cut, but maybe we'll see it at some point. I don't know if there's much to glean off of that other than that, but you guys are free to chime in if you have anything to add.
I mean, I think it's I read the little article, whatever, and he was saying it was kind of like him going in between Mark and Steven with his mom and stuff. So again, one of those performances that he was saying was Emmy worthy with his portrayal of both of the characters. But yeah, I mean, just like we said on last week's review, they just kind of hit you with this mom thing, and then they kind of breezed over it and then continued on. And you figure there would have been something more with the phone calls that Steven was making to his mom, but wasn't actually making to his mom. It would have been interesting just to see there.
Yeah, it would have been. I would have loved to see more of that dynamic. And I would have loved for them to have introduced it earlier so that they could have, had some time to breathe instead of it being so just instant kind of, she's turned on him essentially and resents him. But Alan, got anything?
Just, I don't know. I mean, I think we're all in agreement. It felt a little rushed. Could have been a few more episodes. But it would have been nice to, like you guys said, it would have been nice to see some sort of, that situation come to some sort of resolve, as far as, getting to see her and at least ask questions on why she did what she did or whatever, I don't know. Some of that would have been nice, but I cry too easy. It wouldn't have took much with a mom, and I would have probably been crying anyway. So
Yeah, it's good. Embrace your tears. Cool. And then one last thing here in the Marvel front, which is not necessarily anything that we had to spend a lot of time on, but I just thought it was cool. Sony's releasing a vinyl, a few special editions of the original Danny Elfman score from 2002. What was that? 2002?
I mean, are we getting Nickelback on there too, or is this just Danny
No, this
Elfman?
is score. This is score.
Not buying it then. I need the Nickelback, man.
The Nickelback. Well, it's not technically Nickelback. Let's get real. It is Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott.
Yeah.
All right. Not Nickelback. It's got the guitar player for Theory of a Dead Man.
Stone Sour. Come on, man. Bring me back to the old days.
Yeah.
There was some good stuff on there though.
I own that soundtrack. I didn't own the score, but I did own the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I did at one point in time. I don't know if I still have it or not, honestly.
Yeah, but this is a great score. This is one of the scores that I can get on board with when it comes
Kelly
to.
said she loved the soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
She has that soundtrack.
It's a good one. I think it was wasn't that also like the debut of Stone Sour? Bother on that. Yeah, it's kind of cool, good stuff.
And then everybody's like, "This isn't Slipknot. What is this?"
Yeah.
I remember that.
But no, this is a Danny Elfman score I can get behind. His recent efforts, not so much. But yeah, this one's good. So
never going to get better than Nightmare Before Christmas. That's where
a
it's
good
at.
one. 89 Batman, I own that one. It's a good one. Yeah. And a lot of his Burton stuff is good. But yeah. Doctor Strange 2, not so much. Justice League, no. Anyway. So that's kind of all we've got for Marvel. And then one last thing that we'll hit upon news-wise in the Star Wars realm is that Ahsoka has officially begun filming, and Dave Filoni is apparently directing at least the first episode. You can see the little tease there with his cowboy hat, which he is famous for wearing. I'm excited for this series. I love Rosario Dawson in anything that she's in. And I like the episode, what was it, episode 4 or 5 of Mandalorian when she debuted. Season 2 was one of my probably my favorite episodes of Mandalorian, period. I thought it was great. I enjoyed that episode more than the one, like the Luke episode at the end of that season. It's one that I've played, went back and revisited many times. So I am, I'm excited, and seems like we will be getting some, because you know how Filoni is. He loves the lore of Star Wars and loves to inject as much as possible, for better or for worse. Worse being for me, not Mandalorian, but being Boba Fett. There was a lot of that was to me a little forced. Hopefully this one's reined in a little more than that. But what are you guys kind of like? I guess where do you stand on the whole Ahsoka series?
Well, you know how I feel about Rosario Dawson, so
tell me.
I am down.
PG-13 though. Keep it PG-13.
She's my lady. Mandy knows that if anything ever happened to her, she's the first person I'm going after. So
okay,
yeah,
first person, eh?
Yep.
All right. Well, sorry,
Rosario. Swing it for the fences here, guys.
Britt, where you stand?
I'm looking forward to it. So here, the thing I think I learned from the Book of Fett is I really, and I know we'll talk about this in a little bit with Kenobi, but like I really don't care about the characters that are already set up. Like they had their story moments, they've already done their stuff. I don't really need a lot more around them. But when you look at, Ahsoka, and again, I haven't watched all the Clone Wars stuff and all that kind of stuff, so I know that she has some story there. But like, yeah, I want to see it. Like I loved Mandalorian. I loved her in the role and everything she was doing, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Jedis and things like that. And I know we'll see that with Kenobi, but like I want to know the stuff I don't know, right? Some of the other stuff I'm not as excited about, and so I'm down for this one. Kenobi, maybe not so much.
Kenobi, I'm interested. I'm excited for. But I like, I said this, I think during like when we were talking about Book of Boba Fett. And this could be applied also to the Marvel stuff, but specifically more so with the Star Wars stuff. I don't want Star Wars to feel like just like flavor of the week, digestible. You can watch it, you can not watch it, whatever. I don't want to get where it's like there shouldn't. To me, Star Wars should be special, and it really should be theatrical. I don't know if having the at-home Star Wars experience when it comes to the live-action narrative stuff is, even though some of it's been good, I just feel like it's becoming disposable, and I don't want to. Like we were talking, Ryan and I were talking, like Boba Fett had came out. We're like, oh yeah, there's Boba Fett's out, and he had been just like putting it off and not watching him. Like it shouldn't be the case that we'll get around to watching a Boba Fett series. Like we should be stoked to see and find out what that show's about. But because of the nature of the world we live in and people just wanting to put out content, sometimes things can get a little like I said, just disposable. And for me, Book of Boba Fett definitely was that. Mandalorian, not as much. It had some disposableness to it, but for the most part, it was pretty good. And the only redeeming factors of Book of Boba Fett were the Mandalorian centric stuff for me. So, but with the Ahsoka stuff, I think you're right, Britt. I think the Ahsoka. Sorry, what?
I think we all agreed on that point. Man, 1.5 was what was good in that whole series.
Yeah, I only watched the episodes that Brandon texted me and said, "Hey, Mando's on here. Watch it." And that's the only ones I watched out of it. Well, really besides the first episode,
you should have. I mean, that show was it was rough. Other than those episodes, but like you're saying, though, I think that with Ahsoka not being as in your face, at least when it comes to the films, she's definitely in the animated stuff, and I'm sure she's in some of the books as well. But I know things about her, but I don't know a lot, and so I'm excited to learn more about her. And I think Hayden is returning as Anakin, whether in a flashback form or as Vader in the series. So that'll be good to see that relationship in live action. So, but yeah, I'm excited for it. But tempered expectations, because I don't want them to get so hung up on, hey, remember this character? Hey, remember this set piece? Hey, remember this thing? Like that stuff can get, it's cool like here and there, but when it's like, that's the problem that I had. Like, even though I enjoyed the 2 Mando-centric Book of Boba Fett episodes, when I just recently went back to watch them with my daughter, I was like, this wasn't as good as I thought it was because of how like member-berry it is. It's fun in the moment, but when you go back to it, it's like, okay, it kind of sours a little bit for me.
Well, when you were watching it at the time, you were comparing it to the snooze fest other episodes of Book of Boba Fett. So yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
They kind of lifted those episodes up even more than they probably should have been. So
that's true. It's a good point. So we'll see. Yeah, that is.
Tony said he's not in any hurry to revisit those episodes.
It was stocked down for me, unfortunately, and it's unfortunate. I don't know. I did enjoy them at the time, but it's just one of those things. But anyway, all right. So we missed let's see. This came out last week. Was okay. Never mind. We haven't talked since this came out. I'm getting so confused right now because we've had a lot of scheduling conflicts and we didn't do CiNEMACHiNE last week, so we haven't talked about this yet. But there was a new Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer that dropped on May the 4th. Did you guys have a chance to watch that trailer?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any thoughts about that trailer? Let's go.
I'll let you start, Alan.
Okay, fine. I was going to say Brett.
I'll let y'all say all the good stuff first.
It was another solid trailer for me. I'm excited about this show. I almost kind of got on board with Ryan, and I'm not sure if Brandon, did you watch that trailer?
Yeah, and Ryan watched it.
Ryan ended up watching it. Okay, well then I almost didn't watch it for no reason because I was going to try to band with you guys and stay away from it, But I'm glad I did. It was a good trailer. Everything I see about this, it's kind of like when ZSJO was coming out. I know I haven't mentioned that movie this whole episode.
What is that movie?
Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's that, it's that like the greatest superhero movie ever made. That old shtick. But I'll
have to look it up.
But I've ate everything that they've thrown out as far as the Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff. I'm really excited for the show. So every time they drop anything, I'm watching it. So
see, I'm on the other side, man. Like I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it most certainly. But I'm in this weird spot after getting Book of Fett, and I know that these are two totally different things, but it's kind of one of those things. We know Kenobi's alive at the end of the series. Spoilers if you've seen any of the old movies. So like I don't feel like there's going to be that much of a like the anticipation and all of that that this whole trailer came across as of them hunting him down and things like that. So I'm excited to see lightsabers. I'm excited to see all of that we haven't had, for the most part in the last few series and things. But I'm definitely kind of like on the fence of low expectations. So hopefully I get something really good. But it is good to see returning characters. It's good to see potentially Vader. We'll see how much he's actually in it compared to just, hey, he's sitting over here telling people to hunt him down.
That is 100% happening full effect.
Just saying, we'll see how what the fight scenes look like if he shows up. But
I can guarantee it won't look like A New Hope. It won't look like two old guys just like
just tapping sticks around.
Tapping.
But I mean, I don't know. I think, and I don't know if as we go through all these different movies and stuff, I don't know if it's just expectations of a lot of stuff have started to come down because we've been disappointed in a lot of stuff, not just Star Wars. I'm just saying a lot of stuff over the last couple of years. So definitely with this one, I'm going to watch it. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm putting my expectations low just because I just don't feel like there's going to be a will he, won't he kind of feeling through the series as much as I'd hope or want.
Well, that was spoken like a DC fan right there. Temper those expectations, Brett.
Oh no!
Welcome
over here.
Welcome to the dark side.
It's unfortunate in my opinion, it's unfortunate that this has to follow 3 Disney Plus heavily Tatooine centric shows. By the trailer, it does seem like there will be a few, different locales, different settings. But I kind of wish that it wasn't following that because I am a little tired of Tatooine. But I will say this miniseries does look the most cinematic out of the Disney Plus efforts, which has got me excited. And yeah, I mean, I know that it seemed like they've downplayed any kind of like Darth Maul involvement. I'm hoping that is just a marketing thing that they're going to have it as a surprise. Obviously, the Vader thing makes sense as well, but it seems like there's as far as live action is concerned, they haven't returned to that. The Maul, and Maul was a standout character. It was like the one thing that everybody still talks about when it comes to the prequels. And there is unfinished business between he and Maul as far as live action is concerned. I know that it's turned out differently in the animated stuff, but or not differently, but it's already played out. But it would be set during this time. So, and then the Inquisitor stuff is really cool. They play a big part in the Jedi Fallen Order video game. And so I'm excited to see them. And then, lightsabers, man. Lightsabers in Star Wars, you gotta have it. It's part of the equation. It doesn't work as well. It can work, but it doesn't work as well. So I'm excited. So, and the trailer was cool, and it definitely, I'm glad that they're being a little more reserved when it comes to the Vader stuff, teasing it. They just had the breathing at the end of the first trailer, and then they kind of showed the chess piece being fashioned together in this one. So I'm glad that they're not they did release a still, obviously, of Vader, so he's having a part to play in some capacity. And then Hayden Christensen is back, and he's been in the press tour and that kind of thing. So even when they announced that he was going to be involved, I was like, all right, if he's Vader, there's got to be like some him with his helmet off scenarios, because otherwise, why would you cast him? You're not going to cast him to the voice, and you're not really going to cast him to be a glorified stunt performer. So he's got to. His face has to be shown in some. So it's either flashback or him without the helmet on. So we'll see. All right. A few more trailers to touch upon. HBO released a second, first full trailer for House of the Dragon. Did you guys, were you guys, I guess I should ask this because I don't even know. Were you guys Game of Thrones fans?
Yeah. I know Kelly and I watched the whole series, including the ones we wish we could forget at the end.
Yeah. Same. We actually kind of almost like Ryan, like we started watching just a few months before the last season, and like binge watched all the way through, and then had to watch episodic, like week by week for the last season. But
I think we started like season 5 or something like that, and then just kind of binged it through that, and then kind of eventually caught up for the last 2 seasons or something like that, and watched them real time.
So the first season of Game of Thrones came out. It was already on Blu-ray at the time whenever I caught wind of it, and I was working at Best Buy at the time, and I had heard some hype around it, so I blind bought it. I was like, all right, I'm buying this. Everybody's talking about it. A good friend of mine had read the books. He was very high on it, and I was like, all right, I don't know anything about it. I'm going to buy it. And so I bought it and just like was blown away by it. And then season 2 had just started shortly after I bought the series. So I was watching season 2, and I was like, my wife is not the biggest high fantasy fan. So I was kind of hesitant to introduce her to it, but I was like, we got nothing going on this weekend. Let's watch this before kids. So I showed her the first episode. She tracked along with it, enjoyed it. And then, before I knew it, we were both just balls deep into it. So, I really, really enjoyed 90% of as most people the last season. Not that it was bad; it was just very rushed. I think most people would agree with that.
And they didn't pay off a lot of storylines they were building and things like that. Just kind of, how do we end this? And
I know, and that's unfortunate. It's a detriment and disservice to the fandom that Benioff and Weiss just didn't hand the reins to someone that wanted to take the time to finish this correctly. So whatever. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. we're here to talk about House of the Dragon. Did you
Mhm.
guys have any thoughts on this trailer as far as, like I said, there was a teaser that was released a month or two ago that was light on. It was more, obviously it was a teaser, not a lot of.
Mhm.
This one kind of establishes a lot more of the tone, some more of the
Sure.
characters that are going to show up, some characters that have been made a reference to in the series of Game of Thrones. And I mean, we get that. I think they also released a lot of character posters in addition to this trailer on that day that it dropped. Now, I would be lying if I said I know. I kind of know who these characters are as far as the Targaryens. But it's been so long since I've watched the show. I assume that this is the 3 Targaryen siblings that I know that Viserys makes mention of. There's like a very like famous sex position scene in the first season of Game of Thrones where he talks about the 3 Targaryens that wrote dragons, like the last ones. So I assume those are the ones that are featured in this. But if you guys know otherwise, let me know. People in the chat, let me know.
I'm kind of in this spot where like there's dragons. That's cool. I mean, I thought the dragons were a cool aspect of Game of Thrones when they showed up with Daenerys and things like that. But I don't know. Like we'll watch it, but same kind of thing as the other one. Like my expectations are low because of the letdown on the other one, and the other part is like I always find it hard whether it's a prequel or a sequel to a series of like why you care, especially when it's not involving any of the people.
It's a very high order. I mean, any kind of the same thing is going to apply to Lord of the Rings Amazon show. It's like it looks good, but there's a lot of like groundwork that you have to lay, and you've got to establish endearing characters for the audience to latch onto because we love that world, but we spent all of our time with a set of characters, even with like the Hobbit. Like you still had you had Bilbo and you had Gandalf, especially to like go as your like surrogate. Like I know these characters. I have and then they injected a few things, Elrond and Galadriel and all that stuff. So you had Legolas. And I'm sure there will be like references to some stuff that would, it's just like any kind of prequel. They always have some sort of foreshadowing to things, just like in Star Wars, But I did like the tone of this trailer. I'm excited for another show, a very like, medieval style political drama. And then the dragon element is also, that was a big selling point for Game of Thrones for a lot of casual people. Like the dragons brought a ton of viewership in post season 1. So I think they'll probably lean into that heavily. And Matt Smith, I know a lot of people really love him. I honestly haven't seen anything big with him in it. Like a lot of people point to Doctor Who. Everything that I've seen him in has been very small parts, or his parts have been cut out. So I don't have a lot of, I guess, to go on for him as an actor. But he seems to be a fan favorite in anything he's in. So I'll be excited to see.
I mean, and that's us, Mandy and I. We were talking about it the other day, and like out of all of the houses, the Baratheons, the Lannisters, the Starks, the House Targaryen was that was the one that I thought would have made a good, prequel series anyway. They have definitely have the most interesting lineage as far as, the Mad King and all that stuff. So it's got me intrigued. Like Britt said, and like you said, Brandon, the last season was just such a letdown, and we had so much fun watching that show up until that point. And I really hope that they do enough to earn everybody's trust and bring everybody back to the fold, all the fans.
Yeah.
So,
I
hope so.
I hope so too. All right, and then one last thing that we'll touch upon as far as trailers, kind of the big one of the week, I guess. The big one of the last decade. How about that? It's been over a decade in the making. They released the first teaser for the new Avatar sequel, which we learned was titled "The Way of Water." They released all the titles for the sequels, and I can't remember all of them, but yeah. This was exclusive to theaters for Doctor Strange 2 this past weekend, and then they released it online on Monday.
Okay. I wasn't sure because we watched Doctor Strange in IMAX. I don't know if you guys did as well. I was curious if it was IMAX specific or if it was just all theater, all movies.
As far as I know,
it was on.
Alan and I saw it last night in a regular theater, and it was in there.
Okay.
On there, so.
Well, yeah.
You're not special, Britt.
I was just wondering, because I mean, I kind of going off that a little bit. Like I'm really hoping for something really good with this movie, but also like I think back of when Avatar dropped, like the reason why I feel like Avatar did so well is the fact that it was 100% IMAX. It was the 3D aspect of it, like amazing 3D shots. And so I'm really curious what this one's going to do now that 3D has kind of had its like, it's been drugged through the mud, right? Like at one point a few years back, every movie had 3D in it, but it was always like 2 minutes of the movie was 3D and the rest of it wasn't. So like, I'm really curious.
You had
what's
a lot of people piggybacking
on
the success of this movie and post-converting their movie to 3D instead of filming it in 3D like Cameron did for Avatar. He's also, I mean, I don't know how much of a selling point this is going to be for most people. For me, it is. It's interesting, and it will be the format that I see it. And he did film this in high frame rate, from what I understand. And I know that really the only major movie that's been put out, there's been a few others, but all the Hobbit installations were 48 frames high frame rate. If you wanted to see it in that format, a lot of people got turned off by it. I personally appreciated it. I thought it was especially in 3D, it made for the best type of 3D. Like I don't really care for 3D in any kind of normal 24 frames because you get a lot of like motion blur, jagged, like, artifacts and things like that when it comes to action. But when you're watching it with double the frame rate, it really helps that, sell that immersiveness. And it's different. I wouldn't describe it as like, a lot of people say that it's like soap opera, which I can see. I understand why they say that, but to me, it just feels more. It feels more like you're a fly on the wall in this movie. It's because you're seeing things in a higher frame rate, like our eyes see everyday life, and so it feels more like stage play ish. Like you're
and we talked about that. And we talked about that when The Hobbit dropped. Like I'm on the opposite side. I don't like it. Like I'm also one of those that when I turn on the TV, like a brand new TV, and it's got all those upscale whatever, so I'm like, get them off of here because it looks like
now that's different though.
Camcorder. I know.
Same exact way. I turn all that crap off. That's nonsense. Don't have it turned on your TV. But when it's shot,
I saw the
intentions. It's a little, for me. I understand. A lot of people didn't like it.
So we did the Hobbit.
I like a lot of things people don't like.
And I know this.
Movies. I'm used to it.
And he dislikes a lot of things that people like. So
that's very true. But I don't know. I'll be interested to see. Well, if that's going to be the big selling point of it, I'm sure I'll watch it in the frame rate. But I remember watching The Hobbit, and it kind of turned me off. Which I did not see it in 3D. So I saw it in just the higher frame rate, non 3D, and it makes a difference. I felt like it was jarring a little bit. So
the 3D, I didn't see it in 2D high frame rate. I saw all three of them in 3D high frame rate. But I had an appreciation for it. I'll just say that when it came to the 3D, and I don't know this one. So what was that movie? So Ang Lee, I think Billy something halftime walk. I can't remember exactly. This is a long title. He shot that movie in high frame rate. I don't think it even got a major release. And then recently, Gemini Man was also
Mhm.
in that frame rate, or I think it was actually like 160 frames per second. That
Was the
apparently
first one
no
you
theater in
said,
America can play.
was that the POV movie where like you were seeing through the guy's eyes, or no?
No,
First
no,
one you mentioned?
no.
Okay.
This one was the Will Smith movie where he's like has a younger
Yeah,
self.
not Gemini Man. Not Gemini Man. The first one you mentioned.
Oh,
Um,
I don't know what it was about. I
yeah.
remember it coming out, and I think is Miles Teller in it. I can't remember who's in it.
Okay,
but
it's not the one
it's
I was
one of
thinking.
those. It's one of those. There's like a group of younger actors like Miles Teller and the kid from Baby Driver, Alden
Mhm.
Aaron Reich.
Yeah.
They all kind of run the kid from Ready Player One. They all kind of seem like the same person to me. So I don't remember who it was exactly.
Yeah.
The guy.
No, you're good. You're good.
Eggy from Kingsman.
Yeah.
They all run together.
It was one of those four guys, whichever one. It was. Could have been all of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, all this to say, we got the first trailer for Avatar. I know a lot of it's become popular to hate on Avatar for some reason, as of late. But I'm excited. Like watching this, I'll tell you what excited me. Not even before this movie trailer came out, we went and rode the Flight of Passage ride at Animal Kingdom a few years ago, and just seeing that world again, and just seeing locations from that world that weren't in the film. I was like, this I could. And knowing that Cameron was going to do some underwater stuff heavily with the sequel. Filming in underwater mocap, and like he's taken over a decade to figure out what he wanted to do with these movies. And I just don't think you can necessarily count him out. I think that he's one of those filmmakers that in terms of tech, he's kind of always been a pioneer of that. Like when it came to like T2, with the liquid metal stuff, that still holds up today. And then Titanic, like that movie, the scale of Titanic and using, mixing practical and CG and stuff like that, like that was a major advancement. And then obviously Avatar was another major advancement when it came to like, mocap and 3D. So I think this is not really necessarily a story trailer. It's more montagey, like we were talking about with Thor. But I
think it's it's a show off trailer. It's
it's a sizzle reel.
Let you remember, right? Let you remember the things you remember from the first one, but show you some other cool things. You're like, oh, I bet you that would look cool. But I don't know. I think the only thing
the score motif, I think, was it James Horner that did the score from the first Avatar. There's seemed to be some sort of like, as far as story is concerned, seems to be some sort of familial angle that they're going. I don't know if Neytiri and Jake Sully have some sort of kid, or maybe he's like a foster kid or something. He seems human, so I don't know how that works, because Jake is human, but he's merged with his avatar. So I don't know. How that works.
There was the one scene where you see the pregnant avatar that's there. Briefly, but I'm looking forward to it. I think the only thing that may hurt it, depending on what December looks like with theaters, right? Like, I still think it'll do great. We saw Spider-Man, we've seen Doctor Strange putting up big numbers and things like that, but definitely will be interesting to see when we get to December how that's going to look, because this is a theater movie. This is 100%. You need to see this on the big screen.
So. Well, David Sandberg said it himself. He's cutting James Cameron some slack, pushing his movie back a week. So that'll help. But yeah, Alan, you just watched this trailer last night. You didn't watch it when it released online, so you saw it for the first time in theaters. What'd you think?
It was. I'm glad that I waited, because most of the time when we send each other stuff on our group text, most often I'm watching it on my phone. So I'm glad that I waited to see it. in that scale. I know it's heresy in the geek community and I mean, Avatar was just okay. I agree with Brandon. Flight of Passage was one of the best rides I've ever been on in my life. It may be the best ride that Walt Disney World has right now, in my opinion. And I love it, but I don't know. I mean, it's a fun movie, but I didn't get into it as much as like some of my friends did, or my dad. He loved it. You know, he watches that. I think he probably still watches it once a week. But you know, I don't know the last time that I saw it.
I recently returned to it because I watched it with my kid, and I hadn't watched it in a while. But I mean, it's not like the story is not an inventive story.
Yeah,
it borrows from a lot of other stories, but
so
does every movie. Yeah, Dances with Wolves, from Grilly. You know, they're easy to call out, but I still think the world building is really cool.
Yeah,
technical merit's really cool, and just filmmaking in general.
I mean, it's kind of like what we've talked about with Aquaman. Aesthetically, it is beautiful, and that's the way Avatar was for me. I mean, it is, especially for the time that it was made, it was unlike anything we'd ever seen in a movie before. It's, you know, unobtainium. That word bothers me a lot. You know what I mean? Like really, really bad. I don't know why, but it's like
unobtainable, bro.
It irks the crap out of me, man.
Unobtainable element, unobtainium. Come on.
But no, I'll go see this one, of course. You know, I watch everything, so I'll go see it.
This also plays into the fact of like, well, I've said this before, but when you have kids and you start introducing them to these big franchises, and then they have sequels come out in real time instead of you just like binging through them at home. When you've got a big event movie like the new Jurassic World, like these types of things, like going to see Spider-Man No Way Home, it amplifies my experience as a parent to be able to share that with my kid. So that also plays into it here.
Well, especially this year, right? This year is like the year of nostalgia. If you look at like a bunch of the movies that are coming out have some tie back to an older movie or something that you remember. And I feel like that's what's bringing us back. And I think it'll be good for Avatar. It's going to get a lot of people in the seats because they're going to remember like, oh man, do you remember how great the first one was in theaters and things like that. So I think it'll definitely do well. I'm excited to see what he's going to do to bring something new. And not just like, here's the same characters and here's the same thing. Definitely being in the water area and things like that, like he's doing. I think there'll be stuff that blows our mind on how he does it. You know, maybe doesn't translate back home on a TV, but definitely in theater. I'm looking.
I mean, it's crazy. Trey was born that year, and he can drive me to go see this one. That's how long it's been. That's a long time, dude. So he's. I just had to look it up. I was like, was it 2000? I couldn't remember. I was like, it was 2009. So yeah.
I think the other thing that's going to be interesting is we're going to go back to the box office numbers because they're going to re-release the first one back in the theaters.
Yeah, they are.
A month before. Yeah. So we'll see if it can take back the number one spot again.
Yeah, I think it did though, didn't it? Didn't
I don't know.
Yeah, it took it back like after.
Okay.
It was post Endgame. They released it and overseas, somewhere and it took it back.
Cheating.
Hey,
all the re-releases.
Sorry, Brett.
I just wish I could have seen the.
It's all owned by Disney. Whatever.
I just wish I could have seen James Cameron's Aquaman. You know. From Entourage. So.
Yeah. Well, he's going to do Spider-Man for real.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. All right. I think that's honestly about it. As far as watches of the week, I think we're all on the same page. We all watched the finale of Moon Knight, and we all watched Doctor Strange, which we're going to record episodes for. So how about we go do that?
Yeah,
and
I'm good with that.
Post those in a day or two. We'll stagger them a little bit, but I guess real quick, we should probably hit upon the release stuff because we actually did get some movement on the release schedule. Thor is now the next, Cape movie coming out. That's in July, and then League of Super Pets, and then we talked about Black Adam earlier. That's going to be coming in October. So we've got a DC movie on the board. How about that?
2 DC movies and 1 Marvel movie.
I guess
on the
DC
board.
movies.
Holy cow! I don't even know how to act.
Yeah. But we have Miss Marvel coming up. We got some miniseries coming up.
Oh yeah.
Never heard of them. Cool. Well, let me hit these just one last time for the folks that have hung around with us. Once again, you can follow CapeCast on Twitter at CapeCast Show. Pretty much find everything else in the CineMachine camp over at cinemachinepod.com. Follow us on our socials, and then if you feel inclined, you want to throw us some dollars, we'd appreciate that at CineMachinePod on Patreon. Appreciate any kind of help that you can send us over there. So, with all that, Alan, Britt, appreciate you joining. We'll be, like I said, we'll be posting those other Marvel-centric Moon Knight and Doctor Strange reviews shortly. And appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the CapeCast. See ya.